fart.
It's the first thing of the recording.
For the clips ahead of this one, just know that this is unbuttoned because it's more comfortable for me to sit.
It doesn't look that crazy.
I think it's gonna bring us a little engagement. It's like the paint on your wall. People are like, fix the paint.
Yeah.
Remember?
We're the two vainest people in the world.
I know. All we do is look at each other, or look at ourselves, rather. I think we come in here for the good lighting and we just look at ourselves for an hour.
I know.
That's what we're here for.
Perfect. Welcome to Basic Training, a podcast for people that need help.
Yes, and people who can't keep their pants buttoned.
Okay, wait, I need to vent about something.
Okay, go ahead.
You know this, but the listener doesn't. My laptop has been at the Apple Store for a week now because I can't bring myself to pay the $500 it costs to pick it up.
Why do you need to pick it up if it's broken, if they couldn't fix it?
No, but the issue is that it wouldn't turn on. And I guess now it turns on, but everything that was ever on it from the past 3 years is deleted, apparently. They wiped it in the process of restarting it.
Yeah.
And so I have to pay $500 to get a laptop that is like an empty shell of what I gave them with everything I've ever put on it gone.
So heartbreaking.
But
it would be nice to have a clean start, no?
If it wasn't $500, here's the thing. I just need the Apple Store. If you work at the Genius Bar, I need you to understand this. I need you to watch a few episodes of Grey's Anatomy and approach me when you're going to tell me that it's going to cost $500 to fix a laptop I paid thousands of dollars for already, or like $1,000 for.
Yeah.
Like, when you're going to tell me like this thing is broken for like no good reason and that it's going to cost $500 to fix it, I need you to talk to me like the doctors talk to the parents in Grey's Anatomy when they tell them their kids are terminal.
They didn't have good bedside manner?
No, he was like, yeah,
up.
it seems like there's just kind of like, it's probably just something internal. So it's gonna be like $500 and you have to sign this waiver because it's a 50% chance you'll lose everything on it. And I was like, can you, and then he goes, I'm sort of like, can you give me some emotion, like some sympathy?
Right.
But you know what they do make sure to fucking tell you, this would have just been $6 if you had Apple Care.
They always
I thought I had
that.
Apple Care.
Why?
Right, bitch. I hate you. I was so mad. And then I got an email that was like, please rate your experience with Chris. And I was like, I actually can't do this because I won't give someone a bad review, but like I have nothing good to say about this man.
You're a much better person than I am.
Furious. I'm furious. So my laptop is stuck at the Apple Store. It will be there for at least another week because I don't know. I think that $500 is going to hurt less if I pay it in a week from now.
Right.
Oh, fuck. But I'm leaving for town for 2 weeks tomorrow.
I think you need to pick it up. I think you need to pick it up and then store it under your bed and not look at it.
Can I not, though? I actually just don't want to. Okay.
That's really fucked up that they didn't have good bedside manner with you. It really is a heartbreaking thing. It's really tough to hear that you're losing everything.
Why would you tell me that it would be free if I had Apple Care? I clearly...
It's so unnecessary.
It's also so like, I didn't know I didn't have Apple Care because I didn't know that my warranty... He was like, yeah, your warranty expired 3 months ago and you should have updated Apple Care. I was like, I didn't get an email telling me that. Like,
no, and you never do. They're so fucking smug. They're so
oh my
smug.
God, they're so smug. It's like, I'm sorry, I don't work at the Apple Store.
Right. And you go in there for help and they're like, oh, this is literally all you had to do. And it's like, you work here, I don't.
When you deal with Apple, it's this weird thing where you realize that you have become a prisoner of them because it's like, oh, you have created a society that is so dependent on your products that like, you could tell me that I have to kill my mom to get my laptop back and I'd have to consider it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's fucked up. But like,
fucked up.
It's just like, I hate it so much. So I've been, and so the reason I bring this up is because this morning, my iPhone had like we've had iPhones for like 10 years, right?
Right.
I feel like I've seen all the different ways like an iPhone can break at this point. I sort of like know them. New version of iPhone breaking today.
Really?
This was actually the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. My phone would charge to 37% and then stop charging.
Whoa.
And then I'd be like, okay, so I thought
every time 37?
37%.
What do you think the number 37 means?
That I'm gonna die in 7 years?
Number,
no.
yeah.
Oh, it's an angel number. God's trying to tell me something good. No.
No, or you're gonna die at age 37. Got it.
Please don't say that. But so I like tried 3 different chargers. I'm like losing my fucking mind. I was like, if my iPhone breaks and I have to take this iPhone, because I'm leaving for two weeks in like 2 days. So it's like I need an iPhone immediately.
Sure.
I was like, if I have to take this iPhone to the Apple Store and say, no, I'm not here to pick up the laptop that's in the back that you're going to charge me $500 for.
Right.
I'm here for you to fix this other product of yours that's broken. And if it costs more than $5 to fix, I'm going to have an absolute aneurysm. I was like loudly clomping around my apartment and it was not okay because it was 8 a.m. and my roommates like probably woke up from it, but I was like having a meltdown. And then I just turned the phone off and turned it back on and it started working.
Oh, there you go. Oh, great. I'm happy for you.
Do you know when you get like so upset.
You are on one. I love it.
Do you know how you get, when you get so upset because you have fully anticipated what the situation's going to be?
Yeah.
And then it's not that situation. And then you have to find a way to like decompress all the emotions you built up about it.
Yes.
That was me at 8 a.m. this morning.
I understand. Something I do often, do you ever do this where I picture all the ways that something could possibly go wrong? And then I feel like once I've pictured it and anticipated it, it can't possibly go that way because why would it go exactly the way I anticipated? So like when you said about your phone breaking all these different ways, I've like gone through my head all the different ways that it could break. And I'm like, well, none of those are going to happen now. It's going to be something totally out of left field because it can't be something that I already thought about.
Interesting. That's not how I normally think about it. I'm normally like, I've thought about exactly how it's going to go and it's going to go that exact way. And then oftentimes it does.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe I need to start thinking about it that way, like the power of my thoughts. I think about that too with like new relationships, like with a man. I'm like, how is this going to get fucked up? Like I go through all the possible things. He's going to like cheat on me or he's going to say this or all the different, like the common things that would have it end poorly. And it's always something that wasn't what I thought of.
Do you know what's so funny is I do the opposite thing.
Okay.
And this is this is something I'm like very actively working on now that I'm like dating, is I immediately analyze the person. Like within 10 minutes of the first date, I'm like, what are the things about you that I'm eventually going to grow so sick of that I have to leave you? It's really bad and it's really unhealthy.
Whoa.
And I'm like actively trying to like rid
Do you do that with friends too? Do you do that with
No,
podcast
because
co-hosts
that's
too?
part of what it's like. I don't know what it is. I think it's like I don't know what it is, but it's like, and it's not with everyone, but it happens a lot. It doesn't happen with friends though, because with friends,
Interesting.
I'm like pretty, because I don't think of friends as like one day I'll have to leave you potentially.
Right.
And that's probably not how I should be thinking about dating. But I think I'm like traumatized from going through a breakup where I'm like now, like, do you know what I mean? I'm like thinking about it a lot
Sometimes
more.
when I watch my friends go through breakups or like I don't know, like friends that I spend a lot of time with and I hear all the ways that their relationships ended and whatever, I find myself trying to analyze like what the guy thought was wrong with them. Like I try to look at it from the guy's point of view and I'm like, I wonder what your problem is
This reminds me of
that
something
I'm not
really
seeing.
crazy I do.
I just want to commend you for not leaving a bad review for the guy. I think that was really big of you, especially in your moment of anger.
You'd have to literally use like a slur against me for me to leave a bad review.
I will always leave like a 5-star review so that they don't get like dinged because I assume they're having a bad day, but I have to get my feelings out somehow. So I'll leave them like a really well-written giant paragraph about like, here's how you made me feel and here's...
Oh, I did leave a bad review recently. Or no, I filed a complaint recently.
Really?
Yeah. Because someone followed me out from a grocery store onto the street accusing me of stealing. And I had not stolen.
Oh my God.
And it was like really
They're
crazy.
not supposed to do that anywhere. That's like very
I know.
much
And it
against
was like
the rules.
and it was like in my neighborhood and like I felt like people on the street who knew me could have seen me.
I know that because I used to steal from Sephora. They're not allowed to follow you out.
No, I bought, it's not a good story, but basically, yeah, this guy followed me out in the street and told me, was like, and he was doing the thing of being very like, can I see that protein shake in your bag? And I was like, and I like had headphones in, so I was like, what? And it was like, it was like a whole
very
kerfuffle.
Jarring.
Yeah, and very like condescending. And I was like, bro, not today.
He just like wanted to catch somebody doing something and do his job. Yeah, no, I get it. That sucks. I was also a big fan of leaving the teacher reviews. Like the professor reviews at the end.
Rate My Professor? Oh.
We wouldn't do Rate My Professor. They would give us like a school
like the school one. Well,
thing,
no.
And you'd anonymously, but it's like they all recognize your handwriting, your writing style,
Yeah, you
whatever.
can go to town on those though.
Yeah, I would go to town. And I would never leave like in the ratings part where you'd leave like 1 to 5. I feel like that's the thing that their administrators are actually checking. Like I'm not gonna get anyone fired by leaving them all zeros. But in the comment section, I would go off. Like I would save them all because I thought they were so like beautifully written and scathing. I was like, I'm so good.
Okay, wait. Sorry, just to go back to what you were saying about like thinking about what your friends.
Right.
Okay, that reminded me of something that I did for a while that actually was like in a fucked up way, a very like healthy exercise that helped me deal with like insecurity and body dysmorphia.
Okay, go ahead.
Which is like
I really need that right now because I'm staring at myself.
Here's what I do.
Help me out.
If you're like on the subway or like something like that, or you're in public, look at someone who you think is attractive.
Yeah.
And then really look at them and then start to imagine what parts of their face and body they hyperfixate on when they're being body dysmorphic in the mirror and see how much you can distort your perception of them through just that willpower, and you realize how powerful your mind is.
Whoa.
You're like, oh yeah, you can do it to anyone. You can look at like, you know what I mean? You can
like make them ugly.
Sort of, yeah. You can like hyperfixate on something to the point where it's like, oh yeah, they're not attractive. Like, and it's like, oh yeah, I do that to myself every day and it's not real.
Something that happens to me every day in the same vein is I'm such a starer. It's a big problem. Like my parents have always had to teach me, like, stop looking because I stare. I look at men on the street like a cartoon character looks at their asses. Like, I do like a full body. Like I turn around and I follow their ass with my head. It's really bad.
Your head stays still, but your eyes go out and move around.
You know what my friends and I do when we see someone hot? I think I learned this from someone a while back. We've been doing it. My friends and I love to talk in like a 60s, 50s vernacular. Like we call people broad and shit. But when we see a hot guy, we go, ew, ew, ew. So we like clean our fake cartoon glasses and we go, ooga booga. Like, we're like, oh my God. Bing, bing, bing. Like, it's so funny. But yeah, so I'm like a cat caller basically. But no, I stare, and on the subway or wherever, I have a really hard time drawing my eyes away from people I think are like strikingly beautiful, or if their outfit is like amazing. Like I'll take pictures of their outfits just to like remember. So I'll stare at them, and I'll have to like convince myself like, do I want to be her? Do I want to hook up with her? Like this is where anytime I've ever considered like, am I gay? I have to like really look at a beautiful person and be like, would I though? And it's always no, but it's like the one thing that makes me question is just like a beautiful stranger. Well, really, like I have such a hard time like.
Well, there is that echelon of beauty that is beyond sexuality where you're just like, I just want to look at you.
Yeah, I just want to
like,
look at
that
them.
is like.
And in New York, there's so many people like that.
That is like not related. That it's like completely not correlated to like gender or anything.
Right.
It's just like there are some people that you're just like.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're just like striking.
Yeah.
I still remember like looking my first year in a sorority. I was in like all the girls were like disgustingly gorgeous. It was so hard to be me in that sorority. But the president of my sorority was like sitting, and I have this vivid memory of looking at her while we were in the meeting and being like, the way I'm staring at her, I had to like snap out of it because I knew it's the first meeting of the semester of the entire time that I was in a sorority. And I'm like, I don't want to be the freshman who was like staring, and now everybody's going to think that I'm like, have a secret lesbian crush on the president. But I was like, this is the most beautiful girl I have ever seen in my life. Like, I could not stop looking at her.
Is UC the kind of school where you, right, that's how you, UC, that's how we say it? We talked about this last.
Well, it depends which UC you're talking about.
But I thought Berkeley was the original UC.
Yes,
Can we
Berkeley,
talk about this?
So, okay, people call Berkeley Cal.
Oh, Cal,
or UC
that's
Berkeley,
what okay.
But the whole UC system is, did you go to a UC?
Got it.
Yeah.
So, but when you were at Cal, is
Cal
the sort of school?
Yeah,
Sorry, okay.
Whatever.
But is that the sort of school where everyone's in Greek life?
If you want to like socialize, yeah. It's sort of like there's two. You know what's so interesting is there were, for parties, like if you wanted to have like any sort of quintessential big school sporty experience, you wanted to go to like a tailgate, whatever, at a frat, you couldn't just like not join a sorority but then walk in during the games. You had to have been in a sorority in order to get what's called a bid. They would have like wristbands to get into the parties. That was like their safety thing. So you kind of had to join. Oh yeah, it was, it was so safe
for every woman involved.
It was awful. They also had this stupid fucking rule.
You're like bracelets. They called them tags. Like it was cattle.
It's awful. And the girls would like fight over them because every sorority would get like an allotment of how many bids you could get, and you'd have to line up at 7:00 in the fucking morning to get the bid. It was so awful. But and then for like the cool sororities would get like 20 bids to one house, but then like a not as cool sorority would get like 5 bids, and they'd like send the prettiest girls or something. It's so fucked up.
Wait, were you in a good sorority or a not good sorority?
I don't know how I worked my way in. The good sorority needed like comic relief is my philosophy, so I made it in there. But my point was,
I have so many questions.
It was a ridiculous experience.
When you did this, sorry.
Wait, what was I saying? Oh, no, but they had this stupid rule that I wanted to say, which was their whole, like their safety measure was hard alcohol could only be served on the 2nd floor of a frat house.
You had to go upstairs.
So you had to go into guys' rooms in order to get a shot.
Yeah,
or else it was beer the whole night. And it's like, how is this safer? You're making it so I have to enter a guy's room alone in order to get.
I don't think the rule was designed for safety, Talia.
Well,
I don't think that was the goal of the rule.
That's what the whole council came up with, and it was mostly women, so I don't understand.
Wait, I have a question. Yeah. In freshman year, did you join your sorority freshman year?
Yes.
On like the bid day where like you find out what sorority you got, like it's Hogwarts, like
yeah.
When you like, were you like the girl where you opened it and you saw whatever, like were you like, like did you like?
I knew what I was gonna get. I'll tell you why. I was in between two sororities. Okay, so I did rush. It's a whole week of doing these little dinner parties, like tea parties.
I've watched the documentaries.
You get the whole thing. Okay, yeah. So it's like that. And I was so about doing it, but I made a bet with a couple people that I couldn't make it a certain amount of days. And a couple of my friends like pooled money. And it wound up being like $80 that I was gonna win or lose if I didn't get through. So I decided to do it. And I ended up liking this one sorority. And there was a girl in that sorority who had been at my high school, and she was like the it girl of my high school, like in a way that was like intimidating. Okay.
Interesting.
But I don't know, she took a liking to me. I think I was friends with her little brother. Like she always had like a soft spot for me, but she was like scary, beautiful, popular, amazing, whatever. So she was in, of course, the cool sorority.
Okay.
And then there was another sorority that I went through the whole week with that I like kept putting yes to, that I could tell was like interested in me. And they were more of like a sisterhood-based sorority is what you would call it. Like they weren't going to parties with men. It was very much a sorority sisterhood. They would like hang out in their house and they wouldn't, they weren't part of that. They were very much like they would go to protests together and like do all this shit. And that represented a side of me as well. Like that was also what I saw myself being in if I was going to join a sorority.
Yeah, totally.
Otherwise I would do like the co-op thing. So I really didn't think I was like cool girl sorority, like classic Greek life. I thought if I joined, I would be like in that realm.
Yeah.
And on the last night of Rush, I was preffed, is what they call it. No, rather I was cheesecaked. Okay. They give you a piece of cheesecake during the last night of Rush. You get like 10 minutes in the house or whatever. They sit you down with a piece of cheesecake that has your name written on it in chocolate and a little picture of you next to it. And basically they like urge you like last minute, like why you should join. And I told this other girl,
Is it more that you get to choose your sorority, or I thought it was more that the sororities
you have to choose each other.
Right, but like the sororities have more. The sororities are more selective than the people usually, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But then once you're at the end of the week, it's kind of your call. Like you have to put one or the other. Everyone's down to 2 or 1. So the one of the houses I went to, they gave me the cheesecake and they're telling me, here's why you should join.
And all the sororities do cheesecake, or the one you joined?
The one I joined did cheesecake. I think the house next door did cookies. The house next door did like chocolate lava cake, whatever. Okay. You get a dessert, right? And this girl was like, I vividly remember her saying like, Talia, I know that we're not the same vibe. This was like the it girl. She was like, I know you don't want to be like me. Like I don't think we have the same vision for ourselves. And I was like, yeah, accurate read. And she was like, I'm telling you right now, if you want to have any fucking fun in college at all, go here. Like, just trust me. I know that you like that other house because it's like hippy dippy fun. I think I know you and I think you'll be miserable. I think you just need to like suck it up and do the stupid like Greek life thing. And I was like, okay, fine. And I went to the other house and they urged me as well. They were like, do you really want to be with like the Greek life kids and the frat boys? That's so not you. And I'm like, I think maybe I should try it. Like, I think I should go against my beliefs and try this.
Interesting.
So what I did was you get a little card. You go to this giant ballroom and you get this little card and you have 2 options, 2 little slots. And the one
that's ridiculous.
It's insane. And there's girls like crying in the room because they're so like indecisive, whatever. I knew that somebody was really gunning for me to be in like the hot girl house. So I was probably at the bottom of their list of 30 girls that they could take in, but I was at the top of the list at the other one that I didn't really want to be in. So if I put the one I wanted first and the one that wanted me second, they're like the status that they put me at, like they wanted me more badly, I would probably go to that house anyway. So I decided to do what's called a suicide bid, which you're not supposed to do, but you put only 1 house. And you're guaranteed a house if you put 2, but you're not guaranteed if you put 1. So I only put the house I wanted because I was like, you know what? I want to be in that one or I don't want to be in it. I think I know what my college experience is supposed to be and this is what I'm going to do. So I only put that one and I walked out of there. And then the next day, they spent all night counting all the little things. And you're supposed to get a text from what's called your Rokai, who's like your group leader, who tells you to show up for bid day because you got a house. And I never heard from them. So at the very last minute, somebody called and was like, hey, your Rokai quit, but you should come. I was like, oh, okay, great. So then it was like a roll call. Like, I'm back. I'm in. I got it. I show up. I have my hair done, my nails done.
When
whatever.
you thought you didn't get it, were you like crying?
No, I was just sort of like, all right, fine. It's going to go in a different direction than I thought it was. Yeah. I was okay. But then they brought my hopes back up, and then I was like, really, I envisioned myself in the sorority, so I was excited again. So I show back up to the auditorium, and I vividly remember them like going through the box, and they can't find it, and they're like, sorry, there must have been a mistake made. Like, you're not in a sorority. So I left, and that time I was crying. Like, I was really upset because I was so embarrassed walking doing a walk of shame through the hundreds of girls in this auditorium.
I would have dropped out of college. I would have been like, I'll transfer.
It was so embarrassing to show up and not have a bid. That's why they're supposed to call you to come, so that you don't have to deal with that. So I walked through the auditorium all the way back, and I started like running home. I was really upset. Halfway home, up this hill, somebody flags me down. They go, we found it, you're in. I was like, fuck yeah.
Where was it?
It was in like the bottom of someone's back. I don't know. And I was like, it felt like I was like the last girl. Like I made it in by a hair.
So funny.
Because you're not supposed to do this fucking suicide bid thing. But long story short, yes, I knew I was going to get the sorority that I got because it was the only one that I could.
Yeah, it was the only way you could have gotten in.
But yeah, so it was kind of like a big decision for me.
Wait, how long have we been going? Because that reminds me of how I thought I was getting kicked out of college.
Going for 20 minutes.
Okay, wait, I'll tell the story and then we'll answer questions.
Okay, great.
Have I told you about how I like graduated college on a technicality? Like I shouldn't have a degree. Do you know this?
Oh, what?
So, okay. So,
what?
So I really haven't told you the story.
No.
Okay. So I went to UVM, obviously,
Okay, yeah.
and did not do the Greek life, obviously.
But you did like the Birkenstocks, right?
No, I didn't start wearing Birkenstocks until New York. No.
Oh my God.
No, because
I didn't even realize you were wearing them just now.
I'm literally wearing them right now.
Did you do Blundstones in Vermont?
No, I did. First off, the UVM cool shoe when I was there was a Fry boot, which is insane because the snow destroyed them absolutely brutally.
Got it.
I don't remember what I wore for shoes, but so I didn't really enjoy it freshman year because everyone was straight. The party scene was like really shitty. I had like a really good group of friends, but still they were all straight. A huge part of going out was hooking up. There was none of that available to me. I was like, I want to go somewhere else. I grew up in Vermont. I want to get out of here. So I did my whole sophomore year in England.
Oh, right. I remember that.
So the way it like works is the way it worked was it was called a bilateral exchange. And so it was like there was a student. I like paid my tuition and my room and board and everything to UVM.
Sure.
And then an English student from the university I went to there came and like took my spot.
Right.
And then vice versa. So it didn't cost me extra money. It just was like swapping places with a British student.
Cool.
The only thing I had to pay for was like my visa and my flight. So basically I got to live in England for a year for
the same price.
For the same price plus like $2,000, which
Okay.
I did orientation leading this summer before to like pay for it.
Sure.
So my UVM was like you have to go through this whole thing, like the process, and they sit you down and they're like, look, your classes when you're abroad are pass fail. So none of them will go towards your like major credit.
I hate that. We had a lot of those too.
But it's like, I was like, that's fine because
Right.
my major I was a film major. It wasn't like super rigorous.
Right.
They were like, but you have to take a full American course load of credits while you're over there and you have to pass everything. And then you have to save all of your work, your schoolwork, and present it to the transfer credit office when you get back. And then they'll like determine what classes each of these classes counts for and how many credits you get for it.
That's so annoying.
And I was like, okay.
Okay.
So I then, like a couple weeks before I go to England, I get this letter from the English university that's like, hi, here's your course load for the year you're coming.
Right.
And like, obviously in America, like a course load is like 5 classes a semester, like 10 classes a year.
Right.
This was 5 classes for the whole year.
Oh.
3 classes one semester, 2 classes the next. Because that's how English university works. Like you take way less classes. And so I emailed the English university and I was like, hey, like this isn't enough classes. Like I'm supposed to be taking a full American course load. And they were like, this is a full course load by our standards. Like we don't enroll kids for more than this. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to fight to take more classes than they're telling me to while I'm abroad. Like I'll figure this out later.
Yeah. Oh, famous last words.
So then I get to England. So then I get to England and it's like, oh, like not only like are these classes pass fail, but there's no homework, there's no attendance. You just have to show up at the end of the year and take a test or write a paper. Like every class is just a full grade at the end of the semester from a test or a paper. That's it. Ugh, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna bartend this whole time and not go to class. Like I don't care.
Great.
So I did that for like the full year. And then I also didn't save any of the coursework because I wasn't doing any of the coursework.
Right.
I passed 4 of the tests. One of the classes was a paper. there was like a rule where you could hand in your paper a week late and it would be docked 10 points.
Oh yeah,
I
was the queen of that rule.
And I was like, yeah.
I love doing
But
that.
I was like, this is a pass-fail class. Like, yeah, I'm handing in a week late and I'll get docked.
Of course you are,
So I
yeah.
show up and they're like, oh, that rule doesn't apply to international students. And it meant
What the fuck?
So I had failed the class.
You failed the class,
So I was
okay.
like, okay, slay, I took 5 classes this whole year. I failed one. So then I get back to UVM the next year and I'm like, okay, cool. I definitely just took 4 or 5 classes over the course of a whole year. Don't have any of the work to prove it. If they get my report card, it's like 4 C's in math. Like I didn't do anything. And so I put off for like a couple. I put off for like a couple
How did you
months.
get away with this?
I put off for like a couple months, like calling the transfer credit office and doing this like
How were
meeting.
you sleeping at night?
I just like was really good at being like that will,
Compartmentalizing.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm the
and
same
so
way.
then
Okay.
I call the transfer credit office like a couple months later.
Sure.
And I'm like, hi, my name's Jake Cornell. I studied abroad last year and I need to set up my appointments like transfer credits over. And I hear the woman be like, okay, I'm just gonna pull your file up. And then she's like, she goes, sorry, I'm a little confused. There's already 30 credits on your transcript from last year that were transferred over. Are you looking to add more? I was like, no. She was like, yeah, you have 30 credits put on from study abroad last year, which were the credits they had put on to keep me enrolled in the system. And they hadn't marked them as like temporary.
Oh,
It was
you're
just that.
so lucky.
And I was like, oh, no, that's, I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. I guess
sounds
it's just
right.
those. And she's
Great.
like, okay, cool. And I was like, bye. And then like hung up the phone. So then like the rest of college,
That's so great.
the next 2 years of college was like, okay, I will graduate if no one realizes. If no one notices those are fake.
But you know what? They didn't. Even if they did notice later, it's like your problem. Like it's
No,
not.
I know. So then like all of senior year, like as we're getting closer and closer to graduation, I'm like, because you have to do like you have to like do the audit where you like submit your transcript to like prove that your diploma's valid. When I submitted that, I was like, there's a chance this is when they catch it. And they like
Right.
realize I cheated. Or like not cheated, but like scammed.
Scammed.
And then they didn't. And I was like, wow, I got away with it. Like I'm getting a diploma even though I did not take enough classes. And then like if UVM hears this, they can fully take my degree away. But
Well, that won't matter, honestly.
But so then I go up to get my diploma after graduation. Like there were stations to go to alphabetically and like get your actual physical diploma. And they were like, it's not here. And I was like, this is the moment.
This is it. Yeah.
But it had stuck to someone else's.
Oh my god.
But it took like
Your
5 minutes
angels
of me.
were looking out for
I was
you.
like standing there being like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's really
but
bad.
yeah. So that was my.
Do you think they could really take your diploma away?
Yeah, I did not like. If they wanted to, I think I would make so many videos and jokes about it.
Right.
Like,
No, I think it would be kind of funny if Berkeley like contacted me.
Yeah.
Because I failed a lot of classes. Or no, I didn't fail. I failed one class, but I would cheat on a lot of
okay, let's
classes.
answer some questions.
Do you think they could take my degree away for that?
Absolutely.
Really?
No. Okay, let's answer.
I used to like pay people, and I would get paid to do other people's work too.
Baby, you.
Oh, see, now you're doing it.
Hi, I'm with my friend, and we listen to your podcast together all the time, and we love it. And we're going into our first year of college, and we're both a little terrified of dick, of sucking it, of like all of it, just like. But we want to face it head on. We want to be confident. So, can you give us advice on how to approach those situations confidently, calmly, naturally, and effectively? Thank you. Bye.
How to approach dick calmly, confidently, and effectively.
I'm so grateful for these two.
I love these angels so much.
You are our angel. You're so cute. You're so
I love
funny.
that you listen to the podcast together. That is so sweet.
I love that people this cool. First of all, just the fact that you like had this conversation, decided to call in and say it. That's confidence. And I love that people this cool, this confident, this funny are listening
Yes.
to us.
I love it. Okay, let's.
It is so scary. Putting anything in your vagina is really scary. I was scared of tampons
Putting
until
it in your mouth, yeah.
I didn't put in a tampon until after I had sex.
I know a girl in college who the
So
first time she
afraid.
put a tampon and she put it all the way up her butt.
That's such a lie. It's not even funny. What do you mean? That's not possible. She thought the blood was coming from her butt?
Knowing her, I actually fully believe it.
Oh my god. I used to know kids who would soak tampons in vodka and stick it up their ass.
I hate that. Okay, moving. Okay, back to these sweet angels. Okay, I think that
Were you ever afraid of dick?
I have one.
All right.
Talia forgot I have a penis. So that's that. Okay.
It's like, You go ahead.
So I don't think I was like afraid of them. I think sex was still intimidating. But
Yeah.
like, I would encourage you to, okay, what do we say?
Okay, so I was afraid of penises too.
Yeah, I feel like I'm less qualified to talk about this.
I was afraid of the peen because, well, okay, objectively, they're ugly. They're really scary. They look like aliens. My mom would always be like, "Oh, Toya, aren't you so glad that you're a girl? Because you don't want to have a penis. Penises are gross." I don't know if she's just trying to indoctrinate me so that I like didn't have sex too soon. But she was like,
It's an effective tactic.
penises are gross. Vaginas are pretty. I'm so glad I had a girl because I didn't want to look at a little baby penis.
Oh my God.
Okay, so they must be really disgusting. Okay, but then you know what? You get a little older. I would encourage you to get acquainted with porn. Watch porn.
I was going to say watch porn.
Just do it together. It can be fun. Maybe I was also, okay, so something that happened to me when I was little, I typed in the website Gmail, trying to make an email, and I typed it in Gmale, which is gay porn.
I know. Oh, that's so funny.
And my friend and I showed it to my friend. I was freaked out. I started crying. I thought I was like going to go to jail for some reason. I don't know. I'd never seen naked men before. And my friend and I watched it together. And we honestly, I hope this is not an offense to the gay community, but we were like 9 and we thought it was just like funny. We were like, oh my God, like
well, I think
penises.
sex is funny when you're a kid.
It
'cause
is
you're like,
funny.
What are they doing?
You have to like, I think it's great that you guys are going
I don't
through
want to
this
say that.
together.
I don't think kids shouldn't be seeing sex, but I understand why you would think it was funny if you were a kid and you don't understand the feelings.
Yes, we were freaked out at first and I cried a lot, but then watching it with my friend helped me feel like we could like laugh about it and look without shame. I wish I was a little older, but I think that it's great that you two are like in this together so that you can both sit down and like watch a little porn.
And watch, I would say this, though, also watch like, and if you disagree with me, fine, but like there is like porn made by women that I think is probably better to watch because like I feel like a lot of porn is not how sex actually is. It is like violent and aggressive and like it's heightened to a point of like not being pleasurable.
Well, I think that a lot of the porn made by women though is audio porn. That's kind of the thing.
No, but there are some websites. Yeah.
Okay, so do that.
I've watched some of them because I don't like really violent porn.
I don't really like violent porn either, but
but another thing I'll say that I have a couple female friends that this was a thing for them.
Really?
No one told them about lube. And not every girl gets like wet enough to
for
like
sure.
And like I know people who like didn't start enjoying sex until like their mid to late 20s because they didn't know like lube was an option.
Oh, that is so sad.
And I think that that's just a thing to vocalize is like lubrication is great.
Okay, so girls buy some lube. But I think that the first step, they're not even thinking about inserting even. I think they're just like scared to hold it in their hand.
Also, you're a freshman in college. Let me tell you this right now. Every dude you are going to encounter is going to be so excited that someone
that you
is
just want
touching
to
their
look
dick
at their dick.
that it's like it's not even. And also, like, I don't think if you're hooking up with a nice guy, like if you're hooking up with anyone, you can ask in a sexy way, "What do you like?" That's one of the hottest questions you can ask.
For sure.
And I think that's the thing to do. I just don't think you have to approach it that you should have all this intuitive knowledge because that's where a lot of the fear comes in is like you're hiding a lack of knowledge that isn't real. Like
I was going to say, are you afraid of doing something wrong or are you afraid of the dick itself? I get how the dick is scary, but the only way that you're going to get over that is like watch a little porn with your friend and just get used to seeing it so that you're not surprised when you take it out.
Also, here's the thing. I've been in the game a minute. Every once in a while, you find a scary one.
The first one I ever saw, the first penis I saw was, don't you love that song?
I don't know what song that is.
It's from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah.
The first penis I saw. Listen to that song together, guys. You'll love it. But the first one I saw was uncircumcised. And I had watched some porn and stuff to prepare, but I'd never encountered one that was uncircumcised. Okay. So that was very scary for me. And
you want to talk about studying abroad in England. Sorry, I just really
oh my God, right.
picked up a new minor while I was there.
Right, and there's nothing wrong with an uncircumcised dick. It's beautiful. You're great. I just wasn't acquainted with that, right? So it was a scary experience for me too. But I remember, I just want you to have no shame because the first time that you see one, you have to go in. Don't exactly what Zach. I'm sorry. I almost called you Zach for some reason.
Call me
I
Zach,
was reading something on my computer.
Penis. Let's just keep going with this episode. See where we land.
Exactly what Jake was saying about how you shouldn't pretend to be experienced. The best way you can approach it is like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I want you to show me the ropes. And the guy probably doesn't know what the fuck he's doing either. So you can like learn together and have a giggle.
Lord knows you're going to have to with your vagina.
You're going to have to. But the first dick, we were in a car and I was trying to give him a hand job. Because like the way that I had seen it in porn, I was trying so hard to be like sexy and cool, but I'd only learned with the uncircumcised ones. So I didn't know what to do. And it was just the rhythm was off. It was really, I was so embarrassed that I had pretended to know what I was doing. And I told him that it wasn't my first time. He wound up having to jack himself off while I like sat in the seat next to him and like kissed his neck and came into like a towel that was in his trunk. So
wow, being a teenager is harrowing. It's just absolutely harrowing.
I'm just saying, like, whatever you do not approach it with like, I've done this before, just sit back and relax, because then you're gonna freak the fuck out and choke under the pressure.
Also,
just be vulnerable and be like, I'm not really sure what to do, but I think the way to get over the fear is to just get very acquainted with dicks on the internet.
Also, if you are gonna be someone who wants sex to be a part of your life, like outside of like, if you're not someone who's like, gonna be like saving yourself for marriage or whatever, like if you are someone who wants sex to just be like part of your adult life, like that is wonderful and good, and I highly encourage that. And part of that is like being very okay with that. Like every time you have sex is not going to be perfect, and a lot of them are going to be far from perfect. And there's no like shame in that. And every time that like things don't go totally to plan or like totally well is not like something to feel bad about. You know?
And it's going to be fun when you look back on the stories. Like I have my guy jacking off in the car next to me as my first time story at the 3rd Street Promenade parking lot, and that's just something. Oh my God, I'm afraid to say it was so fucking funny, but I don't want to expose the guy.
Okay, it's not like a custom. It wasn't like he was on Pimp My Ride and it was like some custom car. God bless. All right. Let's go to the next call.
Girls, you're going to do great. Everyone has this feeling.
And please know Talia and I love you.
We love you so much. But also now I like penises and they're super fun. Well, unless it's like super small.
Yeah, that's
that's a whole discussion. Okay.
Hey guys, I guess for context, I'm a queer Black woman who's only been in polyamorous relationships for the past 4 years.
Okay.
And what prompted it was honestly a heartbreak that left me hating men and not respecting them at all. So I kind of just like burned through them. Mm. But then I like found this guy, or I don't know, we found each other and we went on a date like 2 years ago, a first date 2 years ago. And then like fast forward to now, we're dating. Like actually dating, like in a monogamous relationship dating. And he's everything that I like would never date. He's a cis man. He's white. He's not just white, but a Christian white. Like I'm from New York. The only white people I fuck with are Jewish, but he's fucking Catholic.
Okay, Catholic's like
anyway,
Christian light.
This
Sorry.
is not even about that. I guess what this is really about is our sex life. I've been risking my life for the past 3 years having unprotected sex with complete randos who are pieces of shit, and he only wants to have protected sex, and I'm like, I can't fucking come with a condom. Like, what do? I got some toys from Adam and Eve for some partner play that I'm gonna kind of like ease into our sex life, but I don't know. He's like such a good boy who's been kind of like celibate for the past 3 years. Almost 4 years that he hasn't been in a relationship, and I'm like a complete and utter fucking whore. And so I don't know what to do. I don't want him to think I'm like he can't satisfy me, or goddamn, I like really don't know what to do. I just want to come. I just really, really want to fucking come. So, I would love some advice on how to communicate with someone that I would normally never even like be friends with, but he's my boyfriend. Okay, bye.
Oh my God, the calls this week are incredible.
How do we have the best fucking people listening to this podcast? This is amazing.
Okay, I have so many things to say.
Me too. I only have one comment, then you can take the rest. Something about, okay, you know why I felt her when she said, I've only dated Jews. Been there. Also the whole thing about, a man traumatized me and now I don't trust them. Been there. I am having a very similar moment in my life of like liking somebody who I thought was outside of my on paper type.
Uh-huh.
The guy that I'm seeing now is also Christian and was once like a youth group leader in a church. So like this is so foreign to me too. I am so impressed and proud that you're like getting away from like the on paper rules that you set for yourself, because once you get away from that, you open up a whole new world, and we're just so ingrained in our own quote unquote type that we don't even think to look outside of it. And what do you know? You find like your first healthy monogamous relationship in so long, and it's with somebody you would never expect. So I get that it's so scary, but like I assume that he's never dated somebody like you as well. Like this is different for him too. It sounds like
maybe, yeah, we don't know.
It's just like
it sounds like he hadn't. She mentioned. Or they mentioned that they haven't dated someone, that the guy hasn't dated someone in like 3 years.
Right.
So that's a big thing.
It's just give a second to give yourself some applause.
100%.
For doing something that like
100%.
I still haven't even realized how to do. Like it takes so fucking long to break out of that, and a lot of people never do. So good for you.
So
go ahead.
The condoms. Here are my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Everyone's sexual preferences are valid, right?
Yeah.
So if he is like, it's valid for him to like want to use condoms. It's valid for you to not. And just because one behavior is riskier than the other does not make it like morally inferior or superior to the other. I want to make that very clear, because I think that is sometimes the thing that can land people in feeling shitty in ways they shouldn't have to feel shitty.
Mm-hmm.
I would broach the conversation with him. One, why does he want to use condoms if you guys are if you guys are monogamous and you're on some form of birth control or whatever? Like, what is the thing? If he thinks like God will be mad at him less because of latex, I think that's an interesting conversation to have. And I think if you can I don't think saying, hey, like, I'm not enjoying the sex with it. Like, I think there are ways to have this conversation. And again, if having this conversation, bringing up that you're feeling sexually unsatisfied in these certain ways, like communicating your needs and trying to be empathic to finding a resolution, if he's not willing to have those conversations, that's not a great boyfriend.
Right.
So I think it's just about like sitting down. I don't think like if he's gonna think you're some sort of like Jezebel whore because you've had unprotected sex in the past and enjoyed it, then he's a flop and he sucks. You know what I mean?
Right.
But if he's just like working through some inner shame or working through like comfortability around sex, you guys can do that together, and maybe it'll even bring you closer. And like maybe he's not willing to have sex without condoms, but there are other options that he will provide. Who's to say? But like, I think it does just need to be a conversation where you approach it with like, it's not you pressuring him into doing something he doesn't want to do. It's you saying that you currently have desires that are not being met, and seeing where he goes with those.
I think you covered it. Like,
okay, gorge.
I think that was beautiful. And yeah, I mean, good for you. You know what you want. I think that maybe you're a little afraid of this first serious relationship in a while failing because you had that terrible experience with men for so long, and now you're like, you have to just be okay with like, maybe it's not the right match after you have this conversation. Like everything that you said about him, if he's not okay with you being this person and wanting these things, then I don't know, you're just gonna have to walk away and just be okay with that. There are plenty of fish in the sea.
Absolutely.
And you're gonna find somebody just as great. The most important thing that you've done here is like broken down this barrier of like, I'm going to date somebody who I think is not really my type. I'm going to start dating men again and just trusting whatever. That's an accomplishment. So don't be afraid to be like, maybe he's not it. But have the conversation and maybe he'll like rise to the occasion. No
also,
pun intended.
I would venture to guess if he has sex without condoms, he's going to be like, uh-oh.
Yeah, no. I have a feeling this guy's going to try it once.
I've got a feeling.
Like, never mind. Just get STD checked first, both of you, right? Or was he celibate
Getting
before?
tested can't hurt.
Just do it. You'll feel so much better.
Hi, hello. I'm calling from Belgium, so I hope this will go through. First of all, I love the podcast very much.
Oh, thank you.
And I was wondering if you had any advice on, it's a big subject, but on like body acceptance, self-acceptance on that part. You've dipped into it, I think, in one episode. I don't really remember. So yeah, I don't know. Any tips would be very helpful. Thank you very much. Love you. Bye.
Oh, okay.
This
Literally,
is so cool. There's so many cool people calling
Belgium?
us. This is so cool.
I'm obsessed. Okay.
Wow, big fan.
But what
of
a
you.
call. What a question.
I mean, girl, I'll let you know when I figure it out. Like, I think you gave a great tip earlier about looking at people on the train and trying to figure out their body dysmorphia.
Yeah, I don't, but like, I just, like, I mean, we've both gone through so much stuff with body stuff.
Right.
Like, it's always,
I think that it's a major thing that you're saying, body acceptance, rather than trying to like loving your body. I think I'm so against the body positivity movement in many ways. I think that trying to make the goal loving your body and never wanting to change your body is unrealistic and causes more shame, especially for women.
It's like it depends on what you're meaning, because like for me, I think like the idea of loving your body is only helpful when I think about it in terms of like having love for like the physical body and wanting to take care of it.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like not loving, like looking in the mirror and being like, I love that, but being like, I want to love this thing.
But for women, a lot of the body positivity movement for me in my head looks like Salma Hayek looking in the mirror and being like, I love my body, I'm beautiful, and I love my flaws, and so should you. And it's like, shut the fuck up.
Well, it's that thing.
Fuck yourself.
It's that thing we talked about like in an early episode where you were like, let me say that I look like shit.
Yes.
And I think that's valid.
A huge part of it. Like your body acceptance and body neutrality, I think is that's a term I recently learned. And I think that is such a great goal to set. I think that you're on the right track if you're just looking to accept and not to love. I think that anyone who says, even Salma fucking Hayek, anyone who says that every single morning they wake up and they look at their body and they're like, it does what it's supposed to do and I love it and I wouldn't change a thing, they're a liar and they suck, honestly.
I don't know how helpful this is, but like the thing that really kind of set me free with, not that I'm totally over it because I'm nowhere near totally over it, but a thing that has been like, what as I like got older and like realized things like that was so massive was like just realizing how much confidence like affects your perception of someone.
Right.
Like confident people, like sometimes you're not reacting, like it's not always the reaction to like someone's actual physical form. It is like seeing how uncomfortable they look. It's seeing how insecure they look. It's seeing how vulnerable they look. Like as a human, you have an emotional reaction to someone when you see those emotions. When someone is presenting, like they don't like that they're confident, that they're like, they feel self-actualized, like you respond to that and there is like attraction to that. Does that like overcome everything? No, but it's like, it sort of reminds me of like when I realized I was gay and needed to come out of the closet. And I was sort of like, oh, like this is just like the fundamental reality of who I am.
Right.
And like, I have to like acknowledge that and then just move on with my life. And that was the start. And then now I'm literally obsessed with being gay. I'm obsessed with all gay people. I'm obsessed with being queer. It is like my favorite thing about my life. And it's like, I think if you can realize that about your body of like, oh, like this is how I look. It can change within margins, but like, you know what I mean? Like this is the body I have.
Right.
So I have to just like accept that, stop like constantly humming and hawing over it and like move on to the next thing. I think that is the first step to then later on down the line being like, I fucking love how I look. Right. Like, and that's a very long journey.
Right.
But I do think the moment you realize like there's no like, because like also like even when you have these body perception issues, and I can say this from experience, when you manage to change how you look a lot, like you still have those issues.
Right. Your brain don't go away.
Your brain is wired. They become less, and maybe you have moments where it's easier to deal with. But like that wiring is is the enemy, not your actual body.
Exactly. And on the topic of wiring, I used to really laugh this off. When I first started, I went to therapy. And the therapist kept urging me, like, you just need to change the way that your brain is wired by its cognitive behavioral. You have to behave differently and tell yourself certain things, even though it feels silly. You have to start doing it. I laughed this off. I would not do it for so long, and I would lie and say that I was, and nothing would ever change. Finally, I was like, fuck it. I had a really bad day, and I started writing Post-its, like little notes for myself, reminders, and I just hung them on my mirror for a couple of days. And I did notice a drastic change. And you have to start. It'll take a little bit, but you have to start literally every single time your brain tells you like, oh my God, look at your picture. Look at this picture of you. Look how awful this looks. You have to literally go, stop, rewind. You look great. It's fine. It's completely human that you don't like that. But like, it actually looks a lot worse to you than it does to other people.
Yes.
You have to say that in your head. It'll feel ridiculous. It'll feel like you're talking to yourself. If you have to write it on your mirror, whatever, say it to yourself, look yourself in the mirror. If you start doing that, it will rewire your brain.
Yeah.
Like it really will.
Start grading yourself. Like honestly, start grading yourself on a curve.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I don't like what I see. And realistically, I'm probably negating myself 60% more than anyone else who's looking at me is. So let me curve up. Oh, I probably actually look fine today.
Right. And you actually, the way that he just said that, you have to say it in your head.
Yeah.
You have to actually do it.
You're talking to yourself all the time.
You have to
But
do
it's like
it.
a slow process. But like the thing is, like, you're the only person that can make yourself feel better about all this stuff.
Right.
And so it's like, start now.
Right.
You know?
The negative thoughts really do like hurt your brain, and they keep like spinning out of
control.
control.
Like the neurons or whatever. I'm not a neuroscientist.
But it's a real thing.
It is like a real thing.
And I like now if I ever have like a bad thought, I'll be like, oh my God, like you're so fucking worthless. I literally tell myself, stop it. That was bad.
Yeah, like shut fuck up. Yeah.
And then I do it again. And I'm like, you were really funny in this today, or you did something funny. Like you have to like actually tell yourself, and it feels ridiculous, but it really does work after a while. That's the first step.
Like thinking negatively about yourself, literally, it
does
like,
nothing.
It does nothing.
It'll ruin your life.
It's crazy.
Speaking from experience, like
It's
I've never
crazy.
been less happy than when I like started being mean to myself, just kind of to like put myself in check. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because you think like what you're doing is protecting yourself from being like delusional and being laughed at, but actually all you're doing is making your life smaller and more miserable.
You're actually making yourself miserable. Speaking from experience.
Because also the people, wait, this is the last thing, and then like, well, I don't want to say that in case you have something to say, but like this is the last thing I have to say about it is like, and then we can do the next call, is like, oh, I'm losing it. No, it's like, okay, like the people, because, okay, like there's no point in trying to like make yourself smaller and restrict yourself and have negative thoughts because you're trying to like protect yourself from being like looked at by other people and being like, that bitch is delusional, she's an idiot, like, and laughed at. Because guess what? The people who are like out there being delusional and loving themselves and having big lives, like nasty people like me laughing at them, and, or like, it's not me, but like nasty people like laughing at them and being like, they're so delusional. Guess what? It's not affecting them.
Right.
They're having a good fucking life.
It's a
like,
tough lesson to learn.
It's like the people who are like sitting at home in the comment section, like negging someone who's out there like
Right.
having a great life, even though like people are like laughing at them.
Right.
Guess what? They're having a great life. They win.
Right.
They win.
The people who get like the most shit on Reddit or whatever are like the happiest people I
Oh
know.
my
And like
God.
the influencer community, or like
They're so happy.
They're so successful. And there are people who's like I'll like make fun of in my head and be like, oh my God, how are they so delusional? And they're the ones who are like speed racing in terms of milestones past me, past everyone
Exactly.
I know. And it's like these people really did fucking like manifest that
Being
shit.
a hater really only hurts you.
It only hurts you. And speaking as somebody who like made their whole thing about being a hater, it's only fun to an extent, but then at a certain point you can't take it home. Like you can't do it to yourself. Because you will literally it's just a tough lesson to learn, is that the most successful people you know are what you think is delusional.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So just get over yourself, essentially. But that was such a
Hey,
good
love
Talia
you.
and Jake. I did already call with this story, but I think it's so hilarious, and I want to increase my chances of getting on your podcast.
Oh, sorry it took so
here
long.
we go. Basically, I just want to know, Talia, have you ever pissed yourself while orgasming? Like, not squirting, but like came and then pissed yourself at the same time? Because that happened to me, and I had never squirted before, and all I wanted to know was what the fuck, because I got up and there was a huge yellow stain of piss on my bed. So basically, I just want to know, have you ever squirted yourself or pissed yourself
Have you ever
while
squirted yourself?
orgasming? I will not be calling with this question again. Love you, Talia. You're the best.
Our producer was like, hey, there's a fourth question this episode, and it's a lot if you don't want to answer it. And I was like, what could it be?
What
and
could it
I was
possibly
not
be?
prepared for.
But here's
Have
the
you ever
difference between
squirted yourself?
I guess I must be a little built different, because when they said this question is a lot and they've called in twice and we just didn't know if you'd want to answer it, I'm thinking, why the fuck didn't you tell us the first time? This is so funny.
That's
and cool.
so funny.
Like, honestly, good for you.
Wait, but I have a question. If you peeing while orgasming is different than squirting.
No, look, the amount of time scientists have dedicated to like figuring out Viagra, but have not figured out if squirt is pee. It's unbelievable to me. I don't know. It's something I Google like at least once a year, is squirt pee. And I'll do it always while like sitting in bed with a guy in the wet spot, and we'll like, let's Google it. It's just something that like, I don't know why. And you see all these stupid fucking like BuzzFeed science articles too. Like there's science to show that blah, blah, blah. And it's like, who cares about this? Is squirt pee? Is squirt pee? We still don't know. I think that it has a little pee in it. For a lot of people, I've learned, okay, first of all, have you ever really had to pee? Ladies, I don't know if this is a man thing, but you'll let me know. Have you ever really had to pee and it feels kind of good? Like,
well, I've heard that. I have some girlfriends that say that sex feels better if they have to pee a little bit.
exactly. So
Which is not how I perceive sex.
I don't know if you feel like you squirt. You said you didn't squirt, but you felt like you peed yourself. I don't remember that ever happening to me, but I do know that it's normal because every time I've Googled is squirt pee, people will be like, often you pee and you think you just orgasm, but you were peeing, but it felt really good. It's like a thing. It's totally a thing, and you're not weird at all. Like, this is completely, your body is working normally. Everything is fine. It might have been squirt. Either way, I guess if you don't like the feeling of it, empty the tank before you start. It can happen. Like, it must mean that you were really relaxed and feeling really loose and good, and it just happened, and just maybe put a towel down. And but squirting is great, and if you haven't achieved, a lot of girls think that squirting can't happen, right? And I just want to say, now that we're on the topic, it's an important lesson I want to leave you with. Every girl, I don't actually want to say that because I'm not a scientist, but
I was gonna say, is that true?
way more girls than you think are capable of squirting. It's just guys don't want to try. It is essentially ejaculating and having a full orgasm, and we just don't go after it because we are taught that, only some girls can do it and it's really hard to achieve. It's not that fucking hard to achieve. It's called up and down motion, 2 fingers. It's not hard. It's really fucking easy if the guy is committed and knows what he's doing. You can't do it to yourself though because you can't reach all the way.
I was gonna ask, you can't do it to yourself.
You can't do it to yourself. Unless maybe if you have like a certain type of vibrator. I've never tried. I don't want to. I like my sheets. But just all I'm saying is you're normal. Nothing is wrong with you. Congrats on the obviously really powerful orgasm. And just if you don't want it to happen again, pee before.
Yeah.
And if you pee before and it happens again, you're a squirty girl. And that's so sexy. So good for you. I wish I squirted every single time. I think it's kind of gross, but guys love it.
Yeah, it feels like it's very like arcade game. Like you
It's like the thing where you shoot the water and the thing
in
is
the
like,
clown's mouth. That's like ah. You should put prize tickets in your nightstand, and the next time a guy makes you squirt, pull them out.
to get like a parade festival ticket.
Like you're fucking Dave and Buster's.
2 more times you can get a stuffed animal.
You made me Dave and Busted.
Oh my god. Okay, girls.
Wow, the calls this week were next level.
Next level.
Wait, okay, so if you want to call Basic Training and leave your podcast,
what was that? What was that on your phone?
It's an ad that's gonna be posted.
Oh, I thought it was
for
a nude.
body wash. No, it's not a nude.
My phone is filled with nudes these days. This is so cool. Can I read you a DM?
Yeah, of course.
I got a DM from this guy who was a friend of a guy that I went to formal with.
Okay.
When I was like 16.
Okay.
At a different school.
Okay.
And he goes, "Hey Talia, blah, blah, blah. A friend of mine is getting married and she's a big fan of yours and would love it if you sent a video, like congratulating them."
Oh,
isn't that so cool?
That's really cool. Okay, the calls this week were incredible. We would love keep calling in with amazing calls. I'm obsessed that we have people all over the world. I'm obsessed that we have
so cool
listeners that are friends that listen together. I'm obsessed with every single one who called this week. Okay,
life.
If you want to call and ask for advice and tell some stories, the number is 929-269-4960. Again, that is 929-269-4960.
Exactly.
We love you. This has been Basic Training.
This has been Talia.
This has been Jake.
And tell your friends and rate it 5 stars.
Yes. Oh, rate and review 5 stars for the love of God. Leave a review saying that this podcast made you squirt. Okay, bye.
Put a towel down.